Here we are. Welcome, everyone. It is August 28th, 2025, and we're here to present another Oracle APEX office hours. I'm Jason Haynes. I'm an APEX product manager, and we've got a lot lined up for you today in the next hour. First, a few things. Hey, the title of today's session is Extending E-Business Suite Using Oracle APEX. So yeah, we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Got a couple special guests. They're going to be talking about this particular topic. I know this isn't general APEX type of know-how, but for those that know and need to know, this is going to be a great session to jumpstart your extending e-business suite functionality with Oracle APEX. So it's very exciting. So before we get started with that, just some announcements and some updates. We do now publish the APEX newsletter every month. We've got June, July, and August already out. So if you'd like to get to know some of our different APEX team members, great opportunity to read some information there. Obviously, we post about some news, various blog posts and events, and so forth. And the link down there is a Go link. So you can go to apex.oracle.com/go/newsletter to learn more about these particular newsletters that are out. And as we go through some of these other slides with other links, you'll see the pattern with the Go links. And in fact, there's also a shortcuts opportunity there as well. So you can become an Oracle ACE Pro on the latest learning path you need to follow, which you can claim your free certification test until the end of October 31st. So what you need to understand here is, although you can take the test completely for free anytime, to actually take the test itself at Oracle University, that normally is a small fee, but that fee is being waived until the end of October. So you can do all the training, do all the hands-on labs for completely for free, but then when you want to take that actual test, you can sign in for free and get certified if you pass the test. So it's a tremendous opportunity. This doesn't just apply to APEX, it does apply to many other Oracle certifications. So keep that in mind to improve your skills overall. So upcoming in-person conferences, we have a German low-code day on September 16th and 17th. Then we have an Oracle APEX day in Paris. Monica, I really want to go to Paris. But other than that, we have this whole big thing called Oracle AI World in October. It's going to be in Las Vegas, of course. This is the rebranding of Oracle Open World or Cloud World. You can see here a Go link for @AI-World. This is a list of all our APEX sessions that are being presented by the larger group that's going to be there representing APEX. And just the general link for oracle.com/AI-world if you're interested to learn more in general, because there are going to be a tremendous number of keynotes and great speakers that are being presenting their content there on stage live. And if you can go, it's going to be a great time. And we're going to try to have as many people from the APEX team there as possible. The events calendar that we publish at Go Events is listed with the different conferences and different in-person opportunities that are listed for the month of September. Of course, you can go further into the future, into October, November, December, and as they come in, we try to get them published as quickly as possible. But these are APEX-centric events. So some of them are in person, some of them are webinars, but this particular app is a great tool to use to get aware of what's coming up. So before we get started with the whole presentation, we do have a quick poll. So to help gauge the audience interest and level of expertise in this subject matter, Monica's going to kick off some of these poll questions here. So if you would take a few moments to respond to those particular poll questions, you would help us tremendously in preparing the content to deliver to you today. So you all should be seeing that on your screen. Very good. We're almost there, about halfway. Just take a couple moments. There's 4 questions total. We're on question number 1. Is your company using Oracle E-Business Suite? So simple yes or no. Looks like we have the majority at more than 3/4 using E-Business Suite for the people that are in attendance. That's great.
Interesting.
All right. And on to the next question, Monica. Or it only shows us one question. There we go. Right. Okay. Have you built APEX apps to extend E-Business Suite functionality? So the whole topic of today's episode is to talk about doing this. Have you done this or tried to do it yourself so far? It's almost an even split, but leaning more towards most people have not tried this yet, which means you can have a huge opportunity of learning some cool new tricks in this session today. All right, great. All right, let's move on to the next question. So question number 3, where are you running Oracle E-Business Suite? Obviously, there are many opportunities here. I'm sure some of the larger organizations have a pretty good split on this, but we're seeing NA. So Not applicable. So we have a lot of people, I would assume, that are on the call that may not be familiar with this at all. That's great. Big opportunity to learn. Still leaning towards on-premises, it seems, for the majority that are responding. But Oracle Cloud is in the running. All right, I think we have one more question, just a couple more moments on this one. All right, question number 4 and final question. Which version of Oracle eBusiness Suite are you using today? So apparently this is kind of important, kind of like knowing the version of Apex you're using or even Oracle database, you need to be aware of the version always. So 12.2.7 or newer, looks like more than half of you. All right.
Well-behaved customers, great.
Yeah.
Good.
But thank you for joining if your company's not using eBusiness Suite. I mean, there's an opportunity just to have awareness here and how all that comes to be. It's good to know what Apex can do beyond just building simple apps or complex apps or ERP apps or whatever, AI apps, right? What else can it do? It can do EBS extensions. Super cool. All right, so we're done with the 4 questions. Let's move on. So if you do have other questions today, just be advised that today during the session, we would like you to use the Q&A section in Zoom. Don't use the chat to ask questions because the people that are on the call today to help monitor these questions will be answering in Q&A only. There's a button right there in your toolbar of Zoom called Q&A. If your question is unrelated to today's topic or requires a deeper understanding, please take the initiative and go to apex.oracle.com/forum and create a new post there with as much detail as you can. We all do follow those posts and we will try to answer them on the forum after the fact. So today's speakers, I'm pleased to introduce Salim Hlayel and Santiago Bastidas. They're both on the call today. We'll have Salim come up front first talking about his particular content, and then he'll hand it over to Santiago, and then we'll have a Q&A period at the end of all the discussion before the top of the hour. Over to you, Salim.
Thank you, Jason.
We do.
Perfect. A quick introduction about myself. So my name is Salim Hlayel. I'm a senior product manager for Oracle Apex. I'm based out of Abu Dhabi office, Oracle Abu Dhabi office, and I'm in charge of supporting Apex mainly in the EMEA region. And today, it's a very exciting topic talking about extending eBusiness Suite using Oracle Apex. Now, Safe Harbor, some of the stuff that we might talk about might not be available as we speak, like future roadmap, some of the functions or the plugins that we will talk about. So don't make any purchasing decisions based on those not ready stuff yet. So why eBusiness Suite for Oracle Apex developers? So based on the result of the poll, very interesting. Some of you are new to eBusiness Suite. Some of you are new to Apex. So we have a mixed audience. So if you are an Oracle Apex developer and you haven't tried yet extending or using eBusiness Suite, there must be a reason why you want to do that, right? Besides the fact that eBusiness Suite is hugely supported and it is backed by Oracle Premier support contract until at least 2036, but that might not be enough, right, for you to actually extend the eBusiness Suite. There must be some other compelling reasons that make you think that, yeah, I should extend this ERP system. So very quickly, let's talk about those kind of reasons. Firstly, what does Oracle eBusiness Suite do? In simple view, basically, it allows you or your organization to track money. And money is definitely probably the most important aspect in any business, right? So through the ERP modules of eBusiness Suite, you will be allowed to track the money. It allows you to track things. In supply chain management modules, if you have products, for example, that you buy, you make, you sell, or if you have a service that you provide to your customers, eBusiness Suite allows you to manage these kind of products. At the same time, it allows you to manage the different types of assets you have in your organization. It allows you to maintain it and manage those assets to achieve your mission. It also tracks people. So through the HCM, Human Capital Management, you will be able to track all the types of leave, for example, the payroll, the HR records, performance management, and all these kind of stuff. So it's a very comprehensive ERP system. And it's literally used by thousands and thousands of customers worldwide. The kind of industries that eBusiness Suite is available is broad. So if you look at supply chain management centric use cases, for example, you will find that EBS is available in industrial manufacturing, in high technology, in aerospace and defense. If you are a distributor, for example, you could use EBS in that kind of business. If you are into the business of life sciences or pharma, chemical, food and beverage, metals, or even if you are a small communication company or a huge telecommunication corporation, you still can use EBS. Energy and utilities, a great domain for using EBS in engineering and construction. In ERP-centric use case, EBS is available in public sector hugely, in education sector, in healthcare, in financial services, and even if you have professional services, you can manage those services using eBusiness Suite. You can use it in travel and transportation, in IT, media and entertainment, and if you are into retail business, again, eBusiness Suite is an excellent ERP that can manage all those diverse industries. It can be used also in mission critical. Some of the use cases that you can use EBS as a mission critical ERP system, and this is, by the way, some of our customers, they do that as we speak. They use it to manage operations for medical devices with more than 12,000 users across 75 plants. Another customer is using eBusiness Suite to ship about 416,000 prescriptions per day on average. A third customer might use it to manage a 2 billion procurement spend for over 200,000 employees in 87 countries using our procurement. A fourth customer uses it to manage the global supply chain for 30,000 stores, 45 distribution centers, and 8 plants. This includes processing of 1 million order lines within 90 minutes every single day. Some other customers would like to use eBusiness Suite to standardize the procurement for the construction projects. So there are plenty of use cases that you can use EBS and in a mission critical way. Some of the customers that use EBS for mission critical systems, for instance, US federal government, they use EBS in over 100 agencies. They have around 4 EBS shared service providers. US Centers for Medicare and Medicaid services, they process around 4.5 million claim transactions and issue $1.58 billion in payments daily. UK National Health Service use eBusiness Suite to pay about 1.7 million people with EBS payroll. And UK government, again, they use EBS to provide a central shared service. So they have around 300,000 government employees across 17 government departments, and they utilize the finance, the HR, and the payroll modules. EBS is also widely known and available in public sector through EMEA region. So I'm aware that there are so many customers in UAE, for example, in Oman, in Kuwait, in Egypt, and there are also so many customers in Kenya, South Africa, and Saudi that they use EBS mainly for the government ERP functions. So it's very capable, and it's robust ERP system. And I think it's been there for so many years, probably 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's a good reason probably why, as an Apex developer, I would like to extend eBusiness Suite. It's there, it's supported, it covers so many industries, right? But how about why I need to use Oracle Apex in particular to extend eBusiness Suite? So if you are new to Oracle Apex, before we talk even about it, why to extend in the first place? And that's a legitimate question, right? If you have an ERP system, why do you need to extend it? The whole idea behind ERP systems is you can configure them to reach to a requirement. But the problem is, even if you have the best ERP system in the world, there are some certain requirements that the ERP cannot meet. Yes, we tell people, go explore the ERP, make sure that you understand all the functionalities, try your best to utilize the out-of-the-box functionality. But in cases where the ERP cannot meet that, probably 10% of the requirements will not be met by the ERP system, probably 20% or even more, right? This is where you can glue that gap and use a product like Oracle Apex, which allows you to build intelligent enterprise applications you can trust. Oracle Apex, just like eBusiness Suite, is trusted worldwide. It's used to create secure, scalable, and mission-critical application. And that aligns with eBusiness Suite, right? There is no additional licensing cost for Oracle Apex. So if you have a full license to your eBusiness Suite, you can utilize Apex from day one. And it's fully supported feature of the Oracle database with no limits. What we mean by no limits is you can create as many applications as you like. you can have as many end users as you like, and you can have as many developers as you like without even contacting us. All what you need is just a fully supported license for eBusiness Suite. Install Apex there in the database and start using it. It has a native integration with Oracle eBusiness Suite database. Well, Apex as an engine lives within EBS database. So it's very close to your objects. That's what some people like to call it zero latency access to your data, because it's living there, right? So that's why if you create an extension to your eBusiness Suite, if you apply concepts like VPD, for example, or advanced compression or security or whatever, you get the benefit right away inside your extension. Now, everything that we will talk about before passing it to Santiago is actually mentioned in a technical paper. And that's the link for our technical paper. It's a bit long, and that's why we thought we need to have this kind of session to demystify and simplify the steps of that technical paper. So what Santiago will be doing today is he will show you some of the best practices when extending EBS with Oracle Apex. What kind of prerequisites do you need to integrate EBS and Apex? For instance, he will answer questions like where to save those custom objects. If you create an extension, definitely need some custom objects, custom views, custom packages. What EBS patches do I need to natively integrate with Oracle Apex and EBS? And what kind of features will I get from those patches? So yeah, these are the prerequisites. I need to install those patches, but what kind of benefits or features I will get from there? And finally, we might touch upon the future roadmap, safe harbor for extending EBS with Oracle Apex. That's it from my side. I will hand it over to you, Santiago. Thank you for being here. And Santiago, by the way, is one of the leaders in EBS team, and those people who were behind those patches to make our life, Oracle Apex developers, much easier to extend such a great ERP system. Over to you.
Thank you, Salim. Nice introduction. Appreciate that. Okay, first quickly, let me just introduce myself. My name is Santiago Bastidas. I'm a product manager in the eBusiness Suite development team. I've been with Oracle for too long, I think. But anyway, I'm very excited to be here, and thank you, Jason, Salim, and Monica for arranging this. It's definitely an honor for us to be participating on this forum. With that said, before jumping in directly into the enhancements that we have done to integrate EBS and Apex, I wanted to share with you part of the customization development process. This is based on a presentation that we did for our main conferences that talks about the customization development process. But I wanted to share part of it here because I want to make sure that you understand how important Oracle Apex has become for our customers and for EBS development in general. This development process is divided into multiple steps, and we're going to start by talking about understanding the application functionality in depth. So as you heard from Salim, eBusiness Suite has a wealth of functionality in many areas, all the way from financial management, order management, procurement, asset management, manufacturing, and human capital management. Before you even think about customizing or creating a customization, it is very, very important that you're familiar with the functional area that you plan to customize. Let's say that you're thinking about procurement, you have a business flow in procurement, and you want to add something, capture additional information, or maybe even change one of the business flows. It's very important that you understand how that flow works and what kind of APIs you have behind the scenes that support the flow. For that, we have some references here, user's guide, implementation guides, and concepts guide for each one of these areas. And we're talking about over 200 modules in EBS. So there is really nobody in the world that understands 100% all the 200 modules. So you have expertise all over the place. You have experts, functional experts on each one of these areas. And if you want to focalize your efforts on a specific area that you think it's going to be hot as an Oracle Apex developer, I think you can choose and start specializing from a functional standpoint as well. So make sure that you check out our EBS documentation library and get familiar with that. Now, choosing the development approach would be the second step. Many customers decide to just basically try to customize existing transactional streams or reports They can use the current technologies that those transaction screens and reports have been used. You copy them, you make modifications, and then you register those modifications with EBS, and EBS can help you moving forward just by flagging the objects that you have changed with some functionality that we have in EBS. But the majority of the use cases that we see now is when customers try to build your own transactional screens or reports. And when building new transactional screens and reports, it is very important that you always use public APIs or public views to manage the query and data that is going into and coming out of EBS. Why is this? It's because we want to make sure that you're continuing to support the security posture available in EBS. We want to make sure that you are running any customization with security in mind, that you are only going to be exposing the data that end users are supposed to see, nothing more than that. The second recommendation is that you build your customizations using the recommended technologies. And we're going to see the recommended technologies in a little bit based on the use cases. And the third thing is consider the flow. Stay in the same technology. If a flow starts in HTML, you want to probably finish in HTML. But if a business flow starts in forms, maybe the technology that you want to use is forms just to be compliant on. Or in some cases, we have seen customers that have used Oracle APEX to replace forms in some cases and make sure that they implement the whole business flow in APEX. Well, those are some of the use cases. Now, what are the references that we have? We have two main products that are part of EBS. So if you have an EBS installation, there is something called Oracle E-Business Suite Integration Repository. This is basically a catalog of all the public APIs that we have available in E-Business Suite. They are organized by functionality or by interface type. By functionality, what I mean is that you are going to be able to traverse all the functional modules and specialize the specific business objects that you want to customize. And based on that, you'll be able to identify the API that you want to implement. I'm going to show you a quick demo on how you can actually look at this in a little bit. But keep that in mind, that integration repository is going to be the source of truth of the catalog for APIs. The other reference that you can use for identifying APIs and views in general is going to be the ETRM, something that we call Electronic Technical Reference Manual. This is basically a description of the whole e-business suite data model. In some cases, you're going to see that the whole data model is going to be exposed, but what you're going to use is views that are considered public. That again, make sure that you are looking at the security posture coming from EBS so that you expose the data that need to be exposed to the users that need to be exposed to. With that said, I just covered some of the best practices for implementing customizations on e-business suite. Now let's have a look at the recommended technologies. In the case of building new reports, we recommend that you build some of the reports using something called EBS Enterprise Command Centers. Enterprise Command Center is an embedded technology that is part of EBS, and we have provided a lot of dashboards and customization options there. But of course, we are talking about Oracle APEX. And as you can see, this Oracle APEX is one of the recommendations for operational reporting. It's so powerful. It allows you to build and navigate the data so easily. And it's web-based, so you really don't have to install any client for it. And we have the white paper that we're going to be talking about in a little bit for how to extend EBS and build reports with Oracle APEX. For transactional screens, we still have some customers that are using our Oracle Application Framework. But little by little, you will understand that building extensions or building customizations in Oracle APEX, it's definitely simpler, easier. And of course, all of you are here because you understand how simple and powerful Oracle APEX is. Now, thinking about the tools that you need to develop with Oracle APEX, you just need a web browser. That is so powerful as well. In the case of Oracle Application Framework, you have to install Oracle JDeveloper and you have to install some of the application framework a kit for developers and also a follow the developer's guide. In the case of Oracle APEX, again, the white paper is going to be, or the technical paper is definitely going to be a point of reference for you that will help you build and plan the development of your customizations. Now, this is the technical paper. And as I said before, Oracle APEX has become an extremely popular tool for developing extensions with Oracle E-Business Suite. Our management, our executives have been traveling around the world in different conferences, but there was one particular conference, I think it was in India, where they discovered that there was just a wealth of Oracle APEX developers that were thinking about extending E-Business Suite. And they were asking for better ways to integrate, better ways to make the navigation, make the authentication and authorization more seamless. For that reason, they basically gave us a task to build some enhancements that integrate both groups, both products more closely. For that reason, this extending EBS 12.2 with Oracle APEX from version 5.1 and onwards include the new enhancements that we have built for Oracle E-Business Suite and Oracle APEX integration. Those enhancements are focused on two main areas. One is making sure that the administration user has a native capability to integrate EBS with APEX. For that reason, we allow you to register Oracle APEX pages directly as EBS functions in E-Business Suite. And I'm going to show you how that is done. And now we support two modes. One is embedded. So embedded in the EBS UI, we'll see also some screenshots on how that works, and also to use full windows so that you can navigate out of EBS into APEX, but preserving the navigation. So the second part is really about having a seamless navigation between EBS pages and APEX pages. For that reason, we introduced a new authorization and authentication schemes that allow you to basically authenticate with E-Business Suite and then navigate to Oracle APEX, and Oracle APEX seamlessly reuses the EBS session. So EBS establishes a session with the database, and then you can use the session initialization that happens on EBS when running an APEX application. So that seamless navigation is now available. The second thing is, of course, controlling security so that we make sure that an APEX application can see only the things that we are exposing through, and we manage everything using something called EBS function security. Also, we integrate the Oracle APEX workspace schema with the business suite. So there is a registration process that happens, and that's something that is part of the technical paper that basically just allow us to make sure that we can expose and present the workspace and application information directly into EBS. And you're going to get to see that in a little bit as well. Now, what are the prerequisites? First of all, you have to be running Oracle E-Business Suite 12.2.7 or later. So all the customers that I saw are still in 12.1.3. You have to have a plan. You have to be thinking about upgrading this EBS into 12.2.7 or later. At this point, we are in 12.2.14. And shortly coming, you're going to get to hear some news about the new versions of EBS that will be coming out. As you can imagine, we have been doing EBS releases every year around AI World Time, and now we're in 14, so maybe 15 is coming. So 15 is going to be the next release. You need full use of Oracle Database release 19C or later. Oracle APEX 24.12, all the integration has been tested with Oracle APEX 24.12. So we hope that you're definitely on that version, but Oracle APEX upgrades are really simple, so you should be planning to upgrade if you're not there yet. From an application tier perspective, from an application server perspective, You have the capability of running Oracle REST, ORDS, Oracle REST data services, or you could use Oracle WebLogic or Tomcat if that is what you need. In addition to that, for eBusiness Suite instances that are lower than 12 to 13, so 12 to 7 to 12 to 13, you're going to need to install to be on these tech stack patches, AD, TXK, and ATG product family patches. And all the integration work that we did, integrating the several products that are behind the technology piece, now all that work is packaged into this number 7, which is the Oracle Application Framework Bundle. And there is one-off also that registers the Apex public user. So those two patches are EBS patches. They need to be applied to your eBusiness Suite. You can use an online patching cycle to apply them together. It's no problem for that. Now, thinking on the recommended middle tier deployment architecture, as you can see, you usually have your end users connecting via a web browser. The web browser is going to send all the EBS requests to the EBS application server that is going to be running WebLogic, and that's going to be sent back to a single Oracle database, Oracle EBS database, that is going to be handling their requests. From an Apex region on the Apex container perspective or Apex application running, those requests are going to go to the ORDS or WebLogic or whichever application tier that you decided, application server that you decided to choose. But again, those Apex requests will be handled and rendered using the Oracle Apex engine that is going to be on the EBS database again. Now, there is one requirement from this solution that requires that the application servers use the same web entry host name and domain for both kinds of requests. And I'm going to show you that also in a demo in a little bit, how that works. The second thing is a recommendation from a database architecture. So as I said before, we have a single Oracle eBusiness Suite database. The Apex engine is going to must be installed on the same database where EBS is running for the authentication and authorization schemes to work. We always have an intermediate schema. In this case, we called it XX-APEX schema. You can name the schema whichever way you want it, but there is always the need to have this least privileged or minimally privileged schema that will be defined and would be associated with your Apex workspace. And of course, you're going to have your apps schema. Apps schema is kind of the center of the universe from an EBS perspective. And there is where most of the APIs are going to be exposed to the Apex schema. In general, you are only going to be granting read access to the objects that you consider are important and you consider that are public APIs. And standard published EBS APIs will be exposed for the authentication and session management by default. So this is going to be done by default. But again, this is going to be a least privileged user that will be interacting with the apps schema or the EBS schemas. When we talked about the technical paper is a long paper, as you may have heard from Salim. It's a very long paper, but this paper is long because it actually goes through the whole process of building each page, each item in each page that builds the sample application. But in addition to just going through all those steps, you can actually just import a ready-to-go sample application that has the implementation in it. It has all the pages. It has the integration with authentication and authorization schemes. It's fully configured. The document itself points to a couple of scripts also that create the custom database objects that are created with practices and also the grants that are required for those APIs to be accessed from the XX-APEX least privileged schema. So when building these custom database objects, the custom DB objects are usually going to be created on the apps schema, but they will be granted access, read access to the other schema, to the XX least privileged schema. So that's how you actually deploy them. But thinking about the technical paper, don't get scared because it looks so long. Just import the table, import the application, the Apex application that has all this ready. But if you want at some point to understand how a particular element was built into a page, how was the security scheme actually integrated with the page, and how all that information is actually put together, you can go back to the technical paper and use it as a reference. So you can cross-check what is in the sample application versus what's in the technical paper. The technical paper, the first few pages definitely talk about the conceptual background that I have given you, but it also then starts covering everything from a step-by-step instruction on how to build this application. Again, simplify your life, just import the sample application and start introspecting the things that are important and required for your deployment. Now, let me show you a quick example of a quick view of this sample application. So here is the Oracle Apex application builder. As you can see, I have imported one application. It's the Apex EBS demo application. If I click on it, I will be able to see some of the components that the application is described. The first thing is going to be authentication. So we want to make sure that this application is authenticated using EBS authentication. So we can go into the security settings and you will see that we have an authentication scheme called FND-APEX authentication. So what is this FND-APEX authentication? Well, you can always go back to the application and look at shared components. In the shared components, we're going to see that there are some authentication schemes. There is going to be one that is called FND-APEX authentication. If you look at it, we have produced a particular EBS API called FND-APEX and an authentication function. This is going to be a centric function that's going to be used for authenticating any single request that is coming to this particular application. Now, what about authorization? So we also have an authorization scheme. In the authorization scheme, we're basically just looking at making sure that whoever is running a particular page, they are authorized to run that particular function. So we have another API. It's going to be, again, in this FND-APEX. This FND-APEX package is part of the e-business suite patch that you applied in the prerequisites. So you will get this package and then you'll be able to invoke that particular authorization scheme. Now, how do you associate that with a particular page? Well, you basically just go to the page. The page is going to render basically all the elements, the regions that have been created. But at the page level, if you go to properties, you're going to see that we have security and an authorization scheme specifically for that page. So this is how you integrate authentication and authorization, and we allow for this session to be kept. So when you log into this application, we're also going to have a look at that. The login screen for this particular application is going to be pointing out to, yes, the login URL is going to be the EBS login URL. If you're familiar with EBS, this is basically the entry point for the application's login. Now, this app's login, if you have single sign-on integration, it has some logic that it will redirect to the single sign-on. It will establish the session. And once the session is established, you can go back to the application definition and then navigate to the pages. And when you navigate to the pages, the context initialization that happens in EBS is actually restored into the database session that Apex is using. So that means that the responsibility, the user ID, the organization that you are associated with, that your user is associated with, everything is going to be initialized in the database session. So all the queries and all the APIs from that point forward are going to be using that context. And as an example, like in this same page, once you finished by the way, let me just describe this page really quickly. This page allows you to basically update the email for an EBS user. So you can update an email from an EBS user. And it's basically just capturing the information about the user, and it will allow you to update the email and then save the email. So when you save this email, you basically are going to be processing this page. And in the processing of the page, we are going to be invoking an extension, an API that invokes an API in one of the public APIs that we saw before. So where do I create that? I create that in my apps schema. I create a package there, and the package is going to contain package body and the invocation to a particular API. Now, how do I know that this is the API that I should be invoking for updating an end user? Well, that's simple. If I go to the integration repository, this is eBusiness Suite, by the way. So eBusiness Suite is running in this environment. I go to the integration repository, log in to EBS. And once I log into EBS, I can go into the integration repository. The integration repository is going to show me a lot of all the functional areas that I have available, and I can go into applications technology, because this is definitely part of the applications technology. And then user management, because I want to update a particular user. And then I say, okay, I need to update this particular user. If I click on user, I'm going to see that there is a package called FND user package that is associated with this particular object, FND user package. Now, if I go back to MySQL, this is basically the API that I'm using to update the email. So this is how you should be thinking about when building an customization. Just identify what you want to do. In this case, we want to update the email for a particular user. Now, if I update the email for that particular user, well, it's a user in EBS. So let me see if there is a particular API that I need to use to update the user. I wouldn't go directly into the tables and update the email there. That's not the way that EBS works. I will always be interacting again with EBS using public APIs. So that's basically an example on how you could build an application. In this case, this sample application gives you a lot of interesting options. It would allow you to perform multiple activities with your eBusiness Suite environment. Now, I'm running the application. So you can see here, this application is an APEX application, and this is the page that I was talking about. Now, it detected that I signed in to this application using my sysadmin user, EBS sysadmin user. Now, if I go to this page, the user that is being queried is the sysadmin user, and I should be able to update the email address. This is basically a system administrator. It was created in 1951. And I could update the email, basically just entering an email and update the email. So that's one of the options that I have from an update email. But this also has some more sophisticated examples. This is introspecting and looking at eBusiness Suite data. In this case, I'm looking at all the end users, all the employees in my company that are registered with the application. I can use the power of Apex to allow me to do, queries and simplification and navigating my data. But this is all the power of Apex just applied to EBS functionality. So the sample application it can be really powerful. So this is just another example. So that is the demo. Now, once I create my application, I create my pages, I need to basically associate those pages with an eBusiness Suite function. For that reason, we have updated e-business suite and extended it to support something now that is native. And that is basically the APEX type. There is a new function type called APEX, so you can register with APEX. When you go to the second page, there is going to be a new region specifically for APEX that will allow you to select the layout, will allow you to introspect the workspaces defined in APEX that have been integrated or registered with EBS, like in this case, EBS-APEX. And you'll also be able to introspect the applications, the Apex EBS demo, remember? And then here are all the pages that we saw: customer locations, the login page, the update email with responsibility, and we select that one. And in addition to that, you can add additional parameters. So if you want to know how to use those additional parameters, just have a look at the white paper. Technical white paper will show you that. Now, once you have created all the functions, these functions can be associated with an EBS menu. And the EBS menu can then be associated with a responsibility. And then the responsibility is going to be associated with a particular user. In this case, Apex user is going to have this particular responsibility. And because he has that responsibility, he'll have all the menus that have been defined for him. Once that is done, the Apex user logs into EBS. They click on, let's say, update email, and you'll see the update email with a responsibility in this case rendered within the EBS context. Now, why is it important? Because there is a container that renders the Apex page within the EBS context, which allows you to basically get access from Apex directly to the EBS global menu, to the home, and also to managing the login session. So you can actually select the global menu, see the options that you have, and navigate. Of course, in this case, we have only this menu, but you can imagine that you can have all the menu options available for e-business suite for the other responsibilities that this particular user has assigned. So it's definitely really, really powerful to be able to do this. And I think that's it from my side. But before I get to the thank yous part of things, I think I wanted to mention also that this is the initial effort that we have done to enhance Oracle e-business suite to support a better integration with Apex. But we haven't stopped here. We continue to listen, and we continue to talk about multiple enhancements that we're listening from other customers, things that we can do to improve a few things. One of those things that I want to mention is something that we have been discussing with Salim, which is about providing a more granular security within pages in Apex. And probably, Salim, you can talk a little bit about that, and also talk about some of the other items that we have from a roadmap perspective. I'm going to hand it back to you.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Santiago. Yes, some of our customers, what they ended up doing is they ended up creating their own function to manage a granular access to your EBS roles and responsibilities and functions, right? And what we thought of, why not to have this probably in the future, safe harbor again, part of the patches, right? So probably in the future, working with EBS team, hopefully these kind of functions will be available to you. So instead of you creating your own function to make sure that you have a certain responsibility, now that's taken care of right now for a single responsibility. If you come from EBS to an Apex extension, that responsibility is carried over, it's checked, so we make sure that you have it, it's secure, right? But in real life scenarios, sometimes you have multiple responsibilities. You might be an HR manager, for example, but at the same time, you probably might be also a marketing manager, right? And in that page, Apex extension, it could be very complicated. Maybe you're having a region that's only applicable to be seen by marketing managers. So you have a dual responsibilities, but you're coming as an HR to the extension, but then you can utilize that function to check if you have the marketing manager responsibility. Or it could be a function, a certain function inside your EBS. I'm going to paste the link in the chat to the blog post that I have written recently, and it helps you create such a function inside your environment. And hopefully in the future, we can have this function as part of the patches, as we said. The other thing that we think might be useful for you guys is to have probably a plugin, an authorization plugin, a native authorization plugin. So you just need to import it as an Apex developer. And then instead of specifying a single responsibility or a single function, you can have multiple defined declaratively. So you could say, for example, if I'm an HR manager or a sales manager or a clerk, for example, I would be able to see this region, execute that process, show that button, and so on. So hopefully we'll try to work on that. Again, no promises, but we'll try our best. But this is some of the things that we think we can have. On top of that, Apex is having a lot of AI functionalities that we would like to explore. Maybe we can have some of the examples. Maybe we can update a technical paper to show some of these capabilities. Yeah, so that's it from my side. Now I have a nice question. So when Oracle Apex 25.1 being released? We can't tell the date. We can say soon, probably. Right, Jason?
I can say soon.
Okay, maybe sometime.
Definitely soon.
Okay, so somebody also asked about the look and feel. Okay, so the look and feel of Apex does not look like the OAF. I don't think that so many customers would like to mimic the OAF, but if you do want, Apex is highly customizable. We don't have a ready theme, an official one. Some of our partners, I believe they might have, but we don't have something that's ready. But you can customize the look and feel of Apex if you want to look exactly like an EBS page.
Right. And from an EBS perspective, we have been working on aligning with the Redwood theme. So a lot of the screenshots that you saw use the Redwood theme, but that is going to be traversing across all our products. So I think more effort is being done on EBS to align again. And on the Apex side, I believe that that's probably also coming at some point.
Now we have a few questions lingering in the Q&A. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to review them. One came up early. What is EBS shared service providers? I think one of you may have spoken of that.
That might have been within the context of some of the UK government solutions.
US, I think.
Or
Yeah.
US government. So US government in general, they have a centralized team that provides certain functionalities from a financial standpoint when managing the financials of all their agencies. So they provide these shared services to their agencies, as far as I understand. And I've heard that the UK uses a very similar model.
Okay. Another question we have is how can we get these links referred to on the slides? So I know you both had two different slide decks. What's the easiest way for us to provide the links or the slide decks themselves?
Yes, I think we will be providing the decks in a PDF format, and that should capture all the links. So you should be able to get them, I hope.
Okay. So another question here was based on the conversation today. Does that mean EBS HTML will change to Apex in the future?
I've heard that from several customers. There is no effort at this point to migrate from Oracle Application Framework. What we are doing is that we are providing a mechanism so that you can build extensions with Apex, but we'll continue to use Oracle Applications Framework for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
Okay. On to the next question. Can we embed an Apex region in EBS workflow notification?
EBS region and EB, okay. Not sure, to be honest. I don't think it's
that's something that I think we can think about, Salim. Yeah, maybe something
nice idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another question. Does everything we've seen here today for EBS integration apply to OCI Fusion Apps integration?
No,
I
no,
think
this is,
this is basically specifically for Oracle E-Business Suite. Yeah,
Yeah.
Salim, go ahead.
yeah,
So go ahead, Salim.
yeah, yeah, it's just specific to EBS. So we do have an office hours, how to extend Fusion apps. So you could use Apex to extend both. But in EBS context, we have a separate technical paper. So today's
Right. And
session
with
is totally
Fusion,
about
it's
the
all
data.
about REST endpoints
It's
more
all
so
about
than
resting
direct
point.
schema access. But we did do
That's
one
right.
about 9 months ago. It's on our YouTube playlist for Fusion. You might want to take a look at that, Jack. It's listed up on the chat there, a few replies back. Okay, last questions here. So how would it work, the redundant functionalities in EBS and Apex, like Apex workflows and EBS workflows?
So that is why it is extremely important. Let me repeat that. Extremely important that you use public APIs, because the public APIs, what they do is they check the context, they check the states of the different documents and transactions that we have on the fly, and they interact with the transaction at the right time, and they perform the updates that are expected within the phase of that particular transaction. So again, public APIs.
All right, great. And with that, we're at the top of the hour, everyone. Thank you so much for joining and staying on for the whole hour to learn everything that you need to know about extending EBS with Oracle Apex. Thank you to our special guests, Santiago and Salim, to spend the time today talking about all these different amazing things. It's just really exciting to be able to move forward, knowing that Apex can be used for more than just building general apps. I mean, there are specific real world business use cases here that you can leverage Apex at no cost for. I mean, it's a feature of every Oracle database. You should definitely be taking advantage of this, at least learn more about it. And also don't forget, with Apex in particular and all the other Oracle technologies out there that have a certification path, it's available to take the test and actually be certified until the end of October this year. So definitely jump on that. And we look forward to seeing you next time at our next Oracle Apex office hours. Everyone have a great week, and we'll see you soon. This recording will be posted very soon on our YouTube channel and apex.oracle.com/office hours. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you. See you guys.